And that is your Seaside band. I had a green rock in my pocket earlier, and I left it in my office. So if you're out there putting your little pinchers out, I have a green rock. So, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Are we up yet? All right. This morning we have David Yankaskis, who's holding the light, holding the consciousness, and just anchoring in spirit for us this morning. So give David a round of applause. So David will be walking over towards the Dolphin Legacy or the Prayer Center, where there is a prayer request box. We encourage you to go ahead and place your prayers in there, and they will be prayed upon by all of our wonderful, beautiful practitioners here at Seaside. Woo! Yes! So, there are so many things happening here at Seaside because we are a thriving community with wonderful things happening all day, every day, especially on Sundays. So we have April 21st is Easter, so go ahead and make sure you put that in your calendars. We start with a beautiful sunrise service out in the garden at 6 a.m., and then we have the 9 a.m. and the 11 a.m., and we will have a guest that day, the Easter Bunny. Make sure you don't miss them so you can get some pictures with them. We also have April 14th, New Member Sunday, and March 31st, New Member Class. And to get more information on that, I'm going to call Susan Sullivan up on stage so she can give us more information. So give her a round of applause.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Sully. I'm on your board, and I am a member here at Seaside. And it's a wonderful thing to become a member here. I didn't know about that. And once I got involved on that level and made a commitment to myself to continually live the most spiritual manner of which I am capable, striving always to be an example of spirit expressing, life really started to change for me. So I would love to talk to you more about that. We have a table today. We are signing up new memberships or people that are interested in learning more about the membership, and we have a class, like Kat was saying, that is led by Dr. Christian, right? And you'll just learn about the principles of science of mind and what we're doing here at Seaside and how to be a bigger part of that. And then we take you out to lunch on Sunday, April 14th at Cicciotti's. It's a beautiful ocean view restaurant in Cardiff. And then if you're already a member and enjoying everything that Seaside has to offer, we would like you to help us welcome new members by sponsoring them and sponsoring a little lunch for them and having a little community together. And that's a whole lot of fun, and I did that last year too. And then did you know that you could get emails of the spiritual message and inspirations from Seaside every single week and learn about what Callie's doing with Seaside Sisters? There's so much going on, so I'd invite you to come visit me. I have cupcakes.
Yes, so she got the last St. Patty's cupcakes just for you, so you are very special. We also have March 29th, Sisters Spirit Groove Dance, led by Callie Sorensen, who is also leading the March 18th Heart to Lead by the Seaside Sisters. And this is a Women as Allies for the Greater Good, starting Mondays at 6:30. And what is so amazing is that Callie has put together a workbook which you will get to take home and use. And it has over 2 decades of feminine leadership, sacred activism, and spiritual enlightenment put together into this workbook. So there is a table in the family room. Go ahead and talk to Callie. She has all the scoop on more information on this. We also have another table out in the family room. There's just so many things going on here. We have Karen Koblenz here, and she will be coming up on stage to talk. Never mind, I'm being pointed somewhere else. Oh, hello. Sunny Goodwin will be coming up on stage to talk to us about the interfaith shelter. So give her a round of applause.
Good morning, and yes, I'm a little bit Irish. Today and next Sunday are the last 2 days. We're going to be signing up people and taking donations for our shelter program. In terms of sacred service, it's one of the most rewarding things you can do. We're looking for 3 overnight hosts or hostesses during the week, 2 more dinners, entrees being donated, and whatever way you'd like to come and play with us, shoppers, drivers, whatever, see us at the table after the service, and we'll let you know how you can be involved in this wonderful, wonderful program that really changes lives. Talk about changing lives, it's a big one. Thank you.
So education, we have classes happening here at Seaside all the time, and right now we have breathwork, sound healing, and intentions on March 23rd from 2 to 4 p.m., and that's being led by our wonderful practitioners, Kay Samuelson and Rebecca Berry, and also Understanding Emma, Part 2, and this is with Dr. Kathy Hearn, starting on Wednesdays at 6:30. So if you did or did not take part 1, you can still take part 2. It's totally open for you. This is with Dr. Kathy on Wednesdays at 6:30. And then Ricky Byers. I woke you up. Woo! So Ricky Byers will be here at Seaside, and what's so cool is that the congregational songs that we sing here at Seaside, and I'm going to say Centers for Spiritual Living all over the planet, have been written by Ricky. So it is an honor to have her grace our stage once again here at Seaside. And that is happening April 12th. There is a table in the family room, surprise, surprise, so that you can purchase your tickets today and make sure that you are in on all that fun. And with all that being said, we may now stand and greet our neighbors.
1, 2, 3.
Good morning, Seaside. Let's get our day started right, shall we? Sing it nice and loudly. I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I'm happy, so happy. I'm one in the Spirit all around me. I'm happy, so happy. I trust in God. I'm loving, so loving. I'm one in the Spirit all around me. I'm loving, so loving. I trust in God. Wow. I surrender. I'm one in the Spirit all around me. I surrender. I trust in God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one in the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God.
We are. Annie is at CenterStageChildren'sTheater.org if you guys want tickets down in Mission Hills, which is in the Hillcrest neighborhood. And we're doing it this afternoon and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next week.
Nice,
It's
nice.
so fun. They're so good.
And working with kids, you get home before midnight, right?
I do. It's
So you're in
nice.
good shape this morning.
Yeah, they beat me up a little bit, but I'm pretty good.
That's good. All right. Well, I like the redhead for Annie, right? That's good.
A good choice, I think.
I do too. Looks good. Hey, good morning, everyone. Woo! What a joy it is to be with you on this St. Patrick's Day. There used to be a time I couldn't wake up the next day after St. Patrick's Day, but those days are gone now that I've become a minister. Yeah, so, but I still have memories of those unspeakable times. But they have prepared me to be compassionate and understanding. Anyway. What a joy it is to be here. We are in store for some fun today. Make sure you take out your phone, check in, get social media firing. Let them know this is the happening place. This is the place that invites you to take your cell phone out and get active with it. So people can know we got the best music in town, the best message that's unfolding, that it is truly a place where you are welcome. no matter where you may be on your spiritual path, whether you're flying high or just real grumpy, this is the perfect message for you today to get out of your funk and get on with the Spirit in your life. And so to move us along on this wonderful path is a terrific practitioner. She is ahead of our educational program, has coordinated and putting together all the sacred circles. Oh my goodness, more than half of them are filled already, right? But you put on a new one. Fridays are going on. In case you don't know, sacred circles are those small groups that take the Sunday message to a deeper level, no cost, in a neighborhood near you on a convenient time. And so the director of education at Seaside, a retired teacher, so we've got your educational expertise. This is our very own Deb Sadler.
Good morning. Please join me in the stillness. There is one creative source that lives, moves, and has its being in all that there is. There's only one power, there's only one presence, there's only one mind. For there is a universal intelligence that is everywhere present. It is omnipresent. And this intelligence is what created the multi-universes. It is what keeps the planets in orbit. And it moves in, through, around, and is all life. It is everywhere present. For God, expressed as the multi-universes, is love. God is joy. God is ease. God is great. God is balance and harmony. For there is only one life. And that life is God's life. And that life is perfect. And that life is my life now. For I am one with this divine intelligence that moves in, through, and as me. For I am spirit expressing in individualized form. And as this is true for me, this is true for each one here. That each one is that perfect expression of spirit. That perfect divine intelligence, that love, that joy, beacons of light. Each one here is whole, perfect, and complete. And that is the spiritual truth. And so I know that this service is blessed. I know each person is here by divine appointment. That the words of Dr. Christian reach into each one of our hearts and our minds to expand our consciousness, to expand our sense of compassion. And I know that the words that Dr. Christian speaks go into our hearts and into our minds and into our community and out to our country and around the world and bring a sense of light and balance and harmony to all who dwell upon this planet. And I know for sure it is all good.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that you are God.
Thank you, Deb, for that beautiful prayer, and Carissa for that wonderful, wonderful song. I feel like I can feel it at the cellular level, just, that stillness and that grace and that good. Good morning, family. Happy Sunday. My name is Audra Nicole. For those of you who don't know me, I'm on staff here at Seaside. I am on the Practitioner Core Council. I co-lead the Next Gen Retreat, and I'm also wrapping up my first semester of ministerial school. So that's happening. Thank you. If this is your first Sunday with us, I want to extend a very, very special welcome. We're so excited to have you here with us this morning. We look forward to getting to know you, playing with you in this thing called life. We've put together a very special welcome packet for you. Please take one. They are at the welcome table out front in the family room, and I think there's a few in the west entrance here as well. One of the spectacular things that we do here at Seaside is pray. We are a praying community. Not only do we pray, but we are blessed to have one of the largest practitioner communities at a CSL center. We have over 40 powerhouse practitioners who have been trained in consciousness, in love, in knowing your highest truth. And when you fill out a prayer request form, either online or these forms throughout our center, our practitioners will hold you in prayer all week long. And what we know is that prayer works. Now, we've all heard that prayer can help in times of trouble or need or pain or frustration. But one of my favorite times to use prayer is when things are going really well. Sometimes we forget that we can pray for even more good. So please don't hesitate to let us pray for you. For today's reading, I am going to be reading one of my very favorite authors, Edwene Gaines. If you have not heard of her, I highly recommend her. She is quite witty and down to the truth. This particular book is called The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. She says, one giant step toward emotional health is to realize that no one can hurt us unless we allow them to hurt us. In reality, no one can do to us what we are not already doing to ourselves. Let's say, for example, that you're feeling hurt or sad or disappointed because someone betrayed you. It's so much easier to blame someone else, isn't it? Than to work or to ask sincerely in your prayers, how am I betraying myself? Now, at first, these ideas were very difficult for me to accept. For example, many years ago, my jewelry was stolen, and I was furious. This was not supposed to happen to me. I am a spiritual teacher. I'm on a spiritual path. I'm teaching, I'm serving. I was indignant and getting ready to give God a real piece of my mind. So I went to my spiritual teacher. I went ranting and raving about how unfair it was that something of mine had been stolen. My teacher declared, no one can steal from you unless you steal. This made me so angry that smoke started coming out of my ears. I do not steal, I shouted to her. Oh, yes, you do, she responded. You are stealing my time right this moment. Whoa, what a wake-up call that moment was for me. And then I began a whole new process of understanding the importance of forgiveness and how I can achieve it. When I first heard that old saying, if you see a flaw in another person, it's your vision that needs correcting, I didn't believe it was true. But the older I get and the more I forgive, the more I see that that is the powerful truth of my life.
Thank you, Audra. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you know her, I know her. I'm so excited to be back with Danielle Tucker today. It's always such a joy when she joins us, and I get a little extra treat because I'm going to get to sing a little bit with you, which is like totally fulfilling in itself and such a wonderful thing. So I'm going to give you the stage, and please, Seaside, a very warm welcome for our friend, Ms. Danielle Tucker.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. I really hope you'll sing along. I know you're going to know this one. Think about it. There must be higher love down in the heart or hidden in the stars above. Without it, life is wasted time. Look inside your heart, I'll look inside mine. Things look so bad everywhere in this whole world. What's fair? We walk blind, but we try to see, falling behind in what could be. Bring me a higher love. Bring me a higher love. Oh, bring me a higher love. Where's that higher love? I've been thinking love, world's turning, and we're just hanging on, facing our fears and standing out there alone. A yearning, and it's real to me. There must be someone who's feeling for me. Things look so bad everywhere in this whole world. What's fair? We walk blind, but we try to see, falling behind in what could be. Here we go. Bring me a higher love. Bring me a higher love. Oh, bring me a higher love. I could rise above on a higher love. I will wait for it. I'm not too late for it. Until then, I'll sing my song to cheer the night along. I can set the night up with my soul on fire. I can make the sunshine with pure desire. Let that love come over me. Let me feel how strong it could be. Oh, bring me a higher love. Bring me a higher love. Oh, bring me a higher love. Bring me a higher love. Oh, bring me a higher love. Bring me a higher love. Oh, bring me a higher love. Where's that higher love I've been thinking of?
Woo! That is Danielle Tucker and Carissa with you. There you go. Danielle, you are the pot of gold at the end of this Irish day. How fabulous. Thank you for delivering that to us. What a perfect song. A higher love is really the answer that we're going for with today's message, because today's message is must forgive to heal. And as you may or may not know, we are in the midst of this 7-week series where I'm sharing with you 7 keys to healing. And last week, the key was to be able to see as God sees, and today's key is about forgiveness. And we have wrapped these wonderful sacred circles around the Sunday message. So I encourage you to take advantage of this complimentary circle in somebody's home. It goes for about an hour and 15 minutes. And It takes the message to a deeper place. You get to have a conversation. And what we're doing here at Seaside is Lent, but we're doing Lent in reverse. If you remember how that goes, instead of giving something up, we're embracing a higher love. We are embracing a greater self-expression. We are embracing a greater freedom. And to get there, sometimes the forgiveness is what is necessary to be able to let go of some of those past experiences. So the Sacred Circle this week was written by Catherine Cespedes, and she starts it off with a wonderful line by Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of religious science, and he says, never limit your life from past experiences. Got that? Don't limit your life by your past experiences. No matter how good or how bad or how challenging or how easy it's been, don't limit your life there. Your life isn't bound by the precedent. What is essential is for you to be able to let go of where you've been so you can continue to move forward. And what tends to be around to help us let go is conflict. And what I want us to know about conflict is that it's not necessarily a bad thing, you know. It's what we do with it that begins to create the dynamics, whether it is a positive, uplifting, supportive, something that shakes us out of our previous location, that creates an innovation, a newness, and a new kind of creativity. But what you do with the conflict, that's what you get to determine. Because what I've noticed is by doing this thing called life, that we've all pretty much been given an abundance of opportunities to practice forgiveness, if you may have noticed that. You know, I don't think any of us are going through this world who don't have a little bit of dirt on our hands. But what you do with it, that's optional. Conflict, I think, is inevitable. What we do with it, pain, optional, right? Suffering, optional. Self-sabotage, optional. Hatred, optional. These kind of things, resentment, optional. Being upset, optional. It's like these are the options, but what happens is this is what tends to go on inside of us. The conflict is life saying, hey, take a little deeper look, take a higher look, a higher love, bring it into this. And what you'll come to notice is there's a probability that conflict is bringing something to the surface that is allowing you to take a look. Daniel, sit right here, front seat, saved it for you. That corner's yours, right there. All right, Dan. Thank you. Thanks, Dan. Okay. Man, walking in like I can't find a seat. So where we were talking about conflict. Like if somebody interrupts your train of thought, you just got to know there's a lot more where that came from. And so what we get to do is take a look and say, you know what? What am I going to do? Am I going to use this to present the opportunity to see that there is something that can be brought into a healthy light for a discussion? Because if you're willing to have a healthy discussion in a place of contention or conflict, relationships can become closer, healing can happen between people, teams can work stronger together, new ideas can come forward. And so we have to be willing to just have forgiveness be part of the practice. It's like a non-issue. I'm letting this go right here. How many times do I have to do this? You know the saying, 70 times 70, which means like all the time. How often do you have to brush your teeth? Like one and you're done for life? I don't think so. It doesn't happen like that. 123 times in my lifetime? No, it doesn't work like that. It's like you're always how often do you bathe? Once and you're done for life? It doesn't work like that. You go to the gym, you come out buff for life. I wish it worked like that. But, it's a practice, and forgiveness is something comes up, you got to let it go. You learn, you see, you observe, what can I gain from this? But you've got to, forgiveness isn't necessarily making something bad that happened okay. It's not condoning, it's okay, no big deal. I mean, if it's a big deal, it's a big deal. You don't condone it. And you've probably heard the cliche, I forgive and forget, but I don't think that's really true. I think you don't forget. There's something at the cellular level that remembers. The subjective, has it. It's just part of you, and what you do with it is what the option is. Conflict comes up, and I can be into animosity over the situation, or I can choose to be okay, to move it to place. So it's not about forgetting. It's not about condoning. It's not about getting on your high horse. Aren't I so wonderful and great, and you're forgiven? I'm not coming from this superior kind of attitude. That's not where it is. Martyr, it's not about being a martyr. Oh, woe is me. Isn't that terrible? Come back and do it again. My dad used to say, the only one who appreciates a doormat are those with dirty feet. It's like, forgiveness is not being a martyr and repeating. You take your hand out of the fire, you don't stick it back in there. Forgiveness also isn't like a quick fix. A lot of people, I'm going to forgive and everything's going to be good. What I've come to notice about forgiveness, and I'm sorry to bring this up, is that it takes some time for it to, I got one layer done, I'm good, and then boom, it comes up again. And it's like, I think I got a hand, and it comes up again. It's because you didn't quite forget it. But, you get something to work on. And so, but what forgiveness is an opportunity to practice a higher love. It is a calling to you and say, hey, take a look. Am I going to stay stuck there in my story, or am I going to move to a new place with it? Because it is saying, Christian, take a look here. If something comes up through conflict or whatever we're calling it, if you don't needlessly antagonize it to become more, that's a good thing. And also, you don't want to ignore it. Those two things help it move to a greater option of being a blessing. But if you choose to ignore it, it's going to come back and bite you again. You notice that one? Yeah. And it's usually louder and nastier. And if you don't get it then, it happens again. And if you don't get it in this lifetime, you just bought yourself another lifetime so you can get it. We're not on a time clock. We are on a soul curriculum course, and we're going to get it sooner or later. And I'm a big believer, let's get it now in this place. So that, yeah. But, when something stirs, you got to pay attention. That's the thing. You can't ignore it. There's a guy excited. Springtime like this, pilot, and he was excited to go out in his plane. He has one of those old classic single-engine planes. He went down to the airport, opened up the hangar, took the cover off his plane, fired it up. The engine just poured. It was just in great shape. And he, taxied out into the runway, held right on the numbers, cleared for takeoff, took off. Flying around, looking out, beautiful spring day, and flown all year. The engine's good, everything's wonderful. He's having it, but he has a stick instead of a yoke or a wheel. He has the stick, and it starts to wobble. And it's like, this never really happened before, because the stick controls, the rudders and the wings. It's like you turn, you land. It's an important kind of thing. And it was not very healthy. And then his head starts going, oh no, it's been, hangared all winter. Maybe some rodents crawled up into the tailpipe or in the tail section, and maybe they nailed the cable, because the cable goes from the control to no control. And he's thinking, what do I do? And something inside of him said, go to a song, higher love, take it up. So he pulled the stick back in a quick ascent. He ascended to about as high as the plane would go to the ceiling, and then started sputtering. And he started getting dizzy, because the hypoxia, the lack of oxygen, he levels off and he flies at that level for a while, and the stick begins to be a little bit more, solid. And so he turns it around and comes back and lands safely, and he pulls it into the hangar, and he gets out of his plane, and he looks in, takes off on the panels to the tail section, and he noticed 3 rats had indeed crawled up in there, all dead now because of lack of oxygen up there. So he was divinely guided. But what he saw is one of those guys actually had been gnawing and chewing away on the cable, and half of the cable was gone. And had he continued, it probably would have frayed, and he would have had no control up there. And so I love the moral of this story is, if you want to get rid of the rats that are chewing your control cables, you got to go up higher. You got to climb higher. So if you want to get rid of those rats that are chewing and gnawing away at that control cable, you've got to have a higher love. You've got to climb up higher, and you do that through forgiveness. It is a tool. It is a practice. It is something that is consistently called upon within our life to do is to continuously go to that place and say, I got to let it go. I got to surrender, because you know what I know is that right now your life today is the perfect time in your life to actualize the gifts that you have been brought in charge to bring forth for humanity. The gifts that you have, the talents that you have, the creativity that you have, the songs you have to sing, the expression that you have to, this is the perfect time. And if it's not looking good, it's because you're not looking good. Got that? You're not looking quite right, guys. If it's not looking good, it's because you're not looking good. All of a sudden, you are like selling out tomorrow because of the way you're looking at things now. What needs to be forgiven here today? What needs to be let go of? To lose out on today because you are mourning tomorrow, or you've got fear of tomorrow, or it's like, why are you doing that? Resentment really dampers the light, if you haven't noticed that. It's like a heaviness that sits in the soul that takes like the joy away. Which is why we've got to practice this forgiveness and be able to let it go, because our mind is quick. It's like it snaps to judgment real fast. This went on, this conflict is happening, or this took place in my life. Rather than going to that higher place and climbing higher above the rats in your world, you're like sucked down into, I'm going to show those guys. And the snap judgment comes from past experiences, training, upbringing, loss, fear, and all those conflicting moments in our life. But you know what? There is a higher love. There is an intuitive place that allows you to come from a new field of possibilities. That's an option, as opposed to the resentment or the hatred or the self-sabotage. There is an option that begins to play out when you say, I'm going with forgiveness here, and I've been born, this is the canvas that I get to paint on. My soul is, my incarnation is a canvas in which I get to paint all the creative expressions in my life. And what is going on are my soul's curriculum that is allowing my awareness to move to that higher place, to a greater option, and choosing a different kind of option. Gil Gibran, the guy who wrote The Prophet, and a lot of other things, he said, I learned silence from the talkative. I learned tolerance from the intolerable. And I learned kindness from the unkind. So I want to keep pointing out that you've got an option here. Oh, I mean, you can get into resentment, blame, anger, hatred, and all violence that some people get into. Or you can exercise your option, kind of forgiveness to me, my life, self-forgiveness to the people in me, the situations, the environment, the body that betrayed me. Whatever has some, fact to it. But you know what? It doesn't determine how you're going to be in this life. You get to make that determination. And so what's going on is what you do with it. Ricky Byers, as you know, she's coming to Seaside, right? August 12th, woohoo, is right. And she's an amazing human being. She doesn't just, most of our congregational songs come from her, and they sing those songs in centers and youth thought centers across really the planet, as Catherine was sharing. But she's more than just her music. She is just a dynamic expression, her consciousness, her storytelling, her humor, her wisdom that tie these musical pieces together is an incredible experience we're about to have on our stage here. So I encourage you to get that. But she wrote this book about the stories behind the different songs that she had written. And so here's the intro as to, what she says about where it comes from, the music, the song. She says the vibration, it became a feeling. And a feeling worked into a thought. And a thought provided a mood, and a mood inspired the music, and the music fashioned a verse, and a verse revealed what I or somebody else needed to feel. See how that kind of unfolded? I guess I share that because it's the cornerstone of our philosophy is cause and effect. If we were working on healing, it's like, what are you putting out there? And so, the vibration created a feeling, that created a thought, that created a mood, and it went in a nice progression. But sometimes when we have a vibration called conflict or challenge, or somebody, rubs us the wrong way, that vibration, turns into a feeling, and that feeling feels like I don't have an option. I want revenge. And then look at that track of unfoldment of cause and effect in that way. And it shows up in the body. It cannot, you're holding on to a vibration and a feeling. It's in your body. It is the way it is. So you can choose a different option here. William Arthur Ward, he was a writer from the 20th century. He said that when you look for the best in others, somehow you bring out the best in yourself. That is the reciprocation. That is how it works. And so I've got to decide, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to choose love here because love is the foundation of all healing. We kind of know that. Whether we can get there as an option when someone does us wrong or conflict arises, that's a different story that we're working on. But it says love casts out fear. That's what it does. And so when I choose to come from love, healing can happen. Even when people don't see me in that kind of light. And I got to assure you, not everyone is seen in the most glorious of lights. Like sometimes growing up in a family, you're not necessarily seen as this wonderful expression of spirit. Or you grow up in a poverty kind of environment or a challenge here's a story from the Bible of David. His family didn't see him as a kid, as a king, or as a giant killer. Actually, when Samuel was coming around to talk to David's dad, Jesse, to find out which one of his 8 sons is going to be the king of Israel, Dad didn't even call David in from the field shepherding to those sheep because he never thought of him as a king. It's just he left him out there. What happens sometimes is in our life or in our environment, people will see us in a certain way. Yeah, this is who you are, you little party animal, or whatever it is that you have been seen as. And at some point, sometimes in our life, we have to move beyond a group of individuals who are perceiving us in an old way, in an old relationship, in an old state of being. And just because we are in a particular state of being, or that we were born into a particular family environment or consciousness, doesn't mean you're destined to stay there. Just because this is where you are now, it doesn't mean where you're going to finish or where it is you can go. But you are the one who's got to see yourself as God sees you and realize that I got to practice forgiveness to help extrapolate myself from an environment that isn't necessarily supportive of me. So, if somebody's seeing you sick or impoverished or, an old story of lack or limitation or scarcity, and this is your environment of influence and people that see, that's maybe time to change it. I'm not saying you need to let go of folks, but, God told Abraham when he was kind of, stuck in his little environment, said, Abraham, you got it all, but you got to leave that. You got to leave that stuff behind and move forward. Jesus, man, same story. His brothers, Jesus was out there healing people after healing. They never looked at him as a savior or a Messiah. The Bible says they asked, his brothers talked about Jesus. Jesus, he's not the Messiah. He's our brother. What are you talking about? It's like, what's this? You can't be a prophet in your own hometown. You're seen in a certain light. And sometimes you've got to move away from that and say, I'm finished. I'm finished with that one. I'm done. It served me. You grew up in a family and the parents went only so far, and that's the level in which you go to. You get to be, rather than cursed by the family, you get to be the generational curse. You get to be the generational blessing for everyone who comes after you. Now has a fuller path to a greater possibility of self-expression. It comes down to your option as to how you're going to do that. You can be all caught up and not forgive and say, I got stuck here, this was my lot in life, or I'm going to take responsibility. And as Isaiah said, expand the place of your tent, stretch those curtains wide, lengthen the rope, strengthen the stakes. You've got to do this. You get to decide who you're going to serve this day. You know, is it going to be spirit, or is it going to be this world, the friends, those people that some of those that have known you the longest see you, some of those friends still see me as Chris. It's like, what? You may not have to call me Reverend Christian, but, at least Christian. It's like some of those that have known you the longest see you how you once were, and you don't need to make that wrong. Whatever path you have taken to get you to where you are today is the perfect path. Whether it's a spiritual upbringing, whether it's a cultural upbringing, whether it is a societal kind of experience that got you in and out of all sorts of dynamics, it's perfect. But that's the option you have, to forgive yourself and others and anything else, and realize, you know what? This has been a blessing to get me to where I am today, and that the Spirit is moving inside of me, and that forgiveness is essential. Emmett Fox, he was a divine scientist, a contemporary of Ernest Holmes. He said that you aren't free until you forgive. Until then, you're connected with a hook that is stronger than steel. Until you forgive, you're not free. You're connected by a hook that is stronger than steel. And forgiveness is the practice. You can make it tough and difficult, or you can say, you know what? I'm not going to be stuck in this jail anymore. Because if I don't forgive, it's a ball and chain that's going to take me down. It is going to not listen to the conflict that is giving me the possibility to bring something to the table to look at. I need to check the cable. I need to get a little bit higher, and then come back in and take a look and see, what is it that I need to know from this experience that I found myself in. I'm in it. If I'm in it, then I'm somehow involved with it. It's maybe I didn't necessarily bring it upon myself, but if I am in it, then I need to allow myself to be conscious of what is going on in my life and what kind of feedback it has for me. And if I can allow to take a higher place, I can see without the attachment to, oh man, you messed up, didn't you blow it? And I get beyond judgment. Self-judgment, that's another option. You can be judgmental or you can be kind. You get to decide, but I'll tell you, forgiveness is essential, and forgiveness is, it doesn't make sense to the brain. It doesn't. The one that, I talk about snap judgment, it says, hey, this is what happens. And forgiveness is not a logical practice. So I'm giving you some leeway there. I'm giving you it's okay if it's tough. It doesn't make sense to the brain, because the brain says they did this, they're going to suffer. They at least got to know how much I'm suffering. Guilt's another option. It's like you've got to recognize that forgiveness is the alchemy of the soul, if you would. It is the grace of the divine that comes in and washes the hands that are dirty. This abundant of forgiveness opportunities that we are given. Grace is what transforms them. It is something that doesn't necessarily make sense to the brain, but the heart and the soul are open to that divine touchdown and that greater expression. I've got to begin to open up. And when I open up, it may be hard at first. The butterflies that were going this week? Was that cool? And so, where are they? Where are they? Come on, I hear they're out there. Forgiveness is possible. And then all of a sudden, something happened and the doors were open. And the butterflies, it's like someone literally opened up the door. They were passing from south to north through our parking lot. The kids are trying to catch them. And there's these pink ladies. I don't know where they came from, but all of a sudden we are inundated. What happens is you do your work, you do your practice, and all of a sudden the door is open. And boom, there's a shift inside of you. You're asking different questions in life when you have forgiven, and when you haven't, you say, where's love here? Where's love in this situation? Or where's love in this relationship? Or I want a relationship so I can get love. And then the question shifts to, wow, how can I bring love to my life? How can I bring love to the relationships I find myself in? What can I begin to do that can express this greater level of kindness, and all of a sudden the whole vibration changes, and followed by the thoughts that change, that create the feelings and the moods, and the continuity and the unfoldment of the cause and effect begin to bring forth the manifestations, and you realize you are saturated with love in your life, because that is the choice that you have taken from this place of conflict. It's where people working on abundance. How do I get more money? How do I get more clients? How do I get more? And all of a sudden, there's a new question that comes up in your soul as the butterfly doors have been opened, if you would. And it's like, how can I give more? How can I share more of me? Bring my gifts to humanity. I came here to share, not to get. You can't take anything, but you can leave this world brighter and better and more enriched by your presence if what is coming forth from you is the blessing and the difference that you are making. And so as we begin to open up, what we recognize is that love takes us to a higher place, and we begin to be done with the old ways. We're finished with the addictions. It's like, I'm done. I'm finished with the depression. The scarcity is finished in my life. The fear, it's finished in my world. All of a sudden, the anxiety, it is finished. The controlling is finished. All of a sudden, the shame and the guilt, it's finished. It's no longer a part of the human experience for you, because you have chosen an option that opens up the gates that bring forth the wind of the butterflies that grace and bless your life and your world. You can make a higher choice. And you stand there, you own and say, hey guys, there's a conflict going on. My hands are dirty, and I got some shame here. I got some guilt going on. But you know what? I'm not going to stay there. I'm going to be finished with that and move to a higher option and allow the unfoldment of the greater yet to be to take me to a higher place, so I can bring forth the gifts and the love and the abundance and the joy of Spirit into the world in which I walk. That's the pot of gold for you on this St. Patty's Day. God bless you. Woo. Hey, let's keep it going as we bring back to the stage Danielle Tucker.
Thank you so much for that message this morning. Man, when I heard that this morning was about forgiveness, I thought of this song, because I know in my life where I carry the heaviest burdens are where I'm withholding forgiveness. And I think, how could that be? How could I let something like this go? How could it be? And then that higher love, it calls to me, and it can be. It can be.
Ashamed of what I've done, what I've become.
That is Danielle Tucker. Another perfect pick of a song for this morning. That is amazing. Thank you. What a great song. You know that Danielle used to be the musical director of a mega church with 1,000 people on a Sunday in Poway. And so your songs are just right on and perfect. And your spirit and your soul, just a perfect compliment. Thank you so much. Danielle Tucker. Whew. That was good. Well, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to share our gift, to share our love, to share our offering. And as we give, it comes back. That is that cause and effect thing that I was alluding to a little bit earlier. You get to cast upon the waters that which you would like to come back. It is an extension of your consciousness. It is the activity that Spirit is having in your life. And as you support Spirit's work, what you'll find is Spirit supporting its work is your life. And it shows up, you give in one place, and what we're told is it shows up in many other places. You plant in one field is what the scripture says, and you harvest in many other kinds of fields. So you give in one place and you find health showing up in your body, in your life, in your relationships, in your business, in all places, in the guidance, in the direction you move with. In that state of just prayerfulness, if you would. And so I invite you to listen to your heart, feel how you have been touched, and allow that overflow to move through you at this time. Yeah? Okay, it wasn't too rousing, yeah, but I can get on a roll now. Hey, all right, woo, that's good. Let's go, all right. Hey, well, I'll tell you, ushers and greeters, would you guys gracefully join us up front here? You look wonderful. Look at our Irish expression going on here today, from green shirts to green hair. You know, now wait till I see what's in the kitchen. So anyway, hey, thank you to those who mail in your contributions when you cannot be here, those that remember us with the auto tithe, that regular systematic support from your world into Seasides. It is greatly appreciated for sure. And so I share this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, knowing that this truly is a blessed moment where the divine downloads its a wonderful expression of life through us as us. And in this wonderful expression, healing happens. It purges out anything unlike itself. So letting go of any constraints or the fears and choosing to forgive any of those thoughts that I've had previous to this moment that have created constriction in my life, I open myself up to the wonderful affluent flow of God being that expanding vortex of that good that comes from the inexhaustible reservoir of source itself. Many streams of greater good ever expanding, allowing us to walk through this world with a sense of purpose without concern as to the how-tos, but rather to be able to express that for which we have been called. We're dealing with that which sources all those divine ideas. So Seaside continues to be vision-led in its forward expression. So with joy, we take that which has touched us and graced us and share that, just allowing that stream to move through us with greater velocity and expression than ever before. Living with a sense of peace and a sense of security, knowing the source is inexhaustible and that we truly are an open, clear conduit for its manifestation. And so it is. Amen. And together, let us say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully, I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. It's from our junior church. Thank you, guys. Anyway, stand before this wonderful bounty of love, of caring and compassion, of givingness, of joy, of self-expression, of truly those individuals that have chosen to be a conduit through which that abundance of God's good flows. And I know right now that each one of the givers truly is blessed by the joy and the ever-expanding bounty of an expression that continues to expand its expression in life. So grateful to be a participant in this wonderful circulation and this flow of greater good. I know that those who have given are blessed and enriched, and I know that Seaside is blessed and enriched by this wonderful gifts that have been given, and we handled this gift in good stewardship. We put it forth back out into life to bring the blessings and the goodness and the richness and the joy to everyone that comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for this opportunity to be a wonderful expression of that light and that love that is ever flowing for greater good. And so it is. Amen. This is John, a member of your board of trustees, deliverer of the red carpet last week. Nice job. Golf tournament in the fall, and also helping out with facilities, kind of taking the lead with that. Nice job. So, speaking of nice job, Danielle, just fabulous today. You were just wonderful and beautiful. And Carissa, my goodness, you two last time had exchange roles. She was the artistic director, and you were the main singer. Today, you are the musical director, and you are amazing the way it works. So this is the multi-talented Carissa. Thank you. And no success for your kids program. That's good, Annie. And thank you, student in the School of Ministry. How cool is that? Audrey Nicole, welcome. Thank you for your wonderful support. Giving us sound today, Matthew, and giving us the visuals is Marv. Got Jason back there learning the ropes. And a big shout out to the sound team. I just got a note of some individuals watching today. Always one of our practitioners handles the chat room, and David Lemasters is handling the chat today, but some of the people, Debbie's on there, Mark's on there, Michelle, Rebecca checking in on her girls, making sure you guys did okay. And Daniel, our prayers continue. We're looking forward to you sitting back here in the front row. Again, Alma, Kathy, Waleska, Prayanka. I'll get that correct next week. I'll work on that before I get it. Anyway, that's just some of the names. And there's hey, how's it going? Good to see you. How you been? You want to talk to me? How about you can think about something? I'll talk to you in a minute then. I just want to tell you, okay, I'll go there for sure. I got a couple announcements, and the big thing is we got Easter coming up. That's pretty big, but that wasn't really the one I was going after. Next Saturday, we have got, Kay, you're doing your breath and sound workshop. That's going on Saturday. I think Callie's one sold out. I was told not to push it because it's sold out. Sorry about that. And I'm just excited because we have so much going on at Seaside. Big news, of course, is we got Ricky Byers that's coming up. And Marv, I know you got this 45-second clip. We pulled a piece out.
Freedom. This is a call for our freedom. Freedom from mothers and fathers. Freedom to dwell beyond borders. And now I know I can make a change in my life and maybe yours. We need to make the choice to open up all the doors. Why must we feel the pain, misery, and agony when we could all coexist in freedom? Freedom. Oh, freedom. Freedom. What is the plan for our freedom? Freedom, freedom. Stand for our freedom.
Ricky Byers, that is the spirit you can only begin to capture on video. She's going to be standing right here. This is an event you want to bring somebody to. The tickets are inexpensive, unless you go into the artist reception where you get a free CD and get a chance to chat with her and some food. But plan to be here. It is a special time for Seaside for sure. Flyers in your program. So we share it, give your flyer to somebody, post it somewhere. We're working on getting the word out because, you know, the world out there may not be as familiar with Ricky as we are. So we want everybody to know what's going on. We need all of us to help out. Also on that night, some volunteers. We also need help that night in the parking lot. Actually, we need help in the parking lot every Sunday. If I'd love to get together a parking lot team because the experience really begins when you drive onto this campus. And to see friendly faces saying, hi, you park over here would be good. Also, in terms of helping out in the office, we could use some help with the social media. We've got our different social media platforms, and we're looking for individuals who really want to take responsibility for posting on that and work with Catherine on that. So that's available. And the biggest piece for today is New Member Sundays coming up in a couple weeks. So sign up for new members. It's going to be a wonderful experience. We're going to go out to lunch together. Got a class. I'll fill you in on any questions if you have on the 31st. And then on the 14th, well, you'll stand up here. We'll welcome you into Seaside and sing to you and take you out to lunch. It's very good. Okay. A couple of you wanted to share something. I like your green.
We made rainbows out of Fruit Loops and marshmallows.
Wow. And do you eat those?
Yes, they're delicious, and I don't know how they taste yet.
Oh, all right.
We talked about each of us being special.
Oh, you are special. Each of you very special. Did you want to share how special? Nope. You had something you wanted to say.
Can't wait to eat this.
What's it? Yeah.
Double awesome king marshmallow.
Nice, sweet. Did you want to say anything?
Today we made these yummy treats.
Woo, that is good. Did you want to say anything? A little bit?
This is really fun.
Nice. Here from Portland. Nice. Now that is a long way to come to have fun, but that's how much fun our youth program has. So Dawn, bless you for the wonderful job you do with our youth program. I want you to know that our kids are real high, one of the top priorities for me at Seaside, and whatever we can do to support you to make it even more wonderful, we're here for you, okay? Yeah. Let's say to our children our affirmation. We see you, we love you, and we support you in your magnificence. And with that, I invite any of our religious science practitioners to stand as all of us open our hearts and take a stand for that presence of God in our life. We stand in the midst of this world, this material manifested universe, and we choose to see as God sees, beyond conflict, beyond poor evaluation of what's going on there. We just open up to that divine vibration that turns into a feeling, which turns into a thought, which turns into a mood, which turns into a lyric, which tunes into the expression of spirit made manifest. Feel that presence in life. Feel that love that is moving through you. Feel the joy that fills this sanctuary. The love that imbues this family, this spiritual community, and know that it is in that feeling of something that cannot be described that you're able to feel the divine download, the perfect touch that just repatterns and realigns the physical being in the world of affairs. For truly there's something that opens up that allows the wonderful brush of the butterfly wings to touch and blow in the wonderful gifts of God as it touches down in your very life. Feel it, sense it, know that that presence moves in this moment so perfectly. That you are that place that feels and senses and knows the divine as a real experience. And it's in this kind of knowingness. And that knowingness is more than just believing, it is knowing the truth of being a spirit. It's in this that the floodgates open and all the appropriateness and relevant expression manifest within our personal lives. Not because I'm telling God this is what you need to do, but rather I become available for the divine expression to have expression. The body heals, the life is made whole. And the old ways that do not support the magnificence of the self-expressed expression of God, it's your life. It happens. The abundance flows and supports the creative urges. The right connections and ways are opened. Divine inclination is honored with a courageousness that is supported. Life lived with fulfillment and joy. self-expression. Just allows that current of spirit to move through, purging out anything unlike itself. And anywhere there has been blockage or growth or constraints or difficulty in the physical form, begin to dissolve into the nothingness from which it came. Letting go of the bitterness or the resentment or any of those non-supportive life options that have been embraced, entertained, or given real estate in our field of awareness, begin to dissolve into the nothingness from which they came. I reclaim this canvas of my incarnation and paint it with the colors of the joy and the love and the creativity. I move forth with creating that vision made manifest, knowing that everything that is necessary to support the greater good is in place. And I believe this beyond concerns and fears and constraints. I take the conflicted moments of my life and use it as a springboard, recognizing what others may have meant for harm, God has intended for good. And I am launched into a greater way of seeing as God sees. I begin to forgive and let go of any of the tethers or the chains. My hands are washed, my soul is cleansed, and I stand as a radiant expression of the great possibility of the divine made manifest. This feels good to be walking this world. Thankful that the words we share are the truth, manifesting, and not thank you to something outside. Is just living with a state of grace and appreciation for the full omnipresent expression of spirit and all the good and the options that I now claim. I live with a sense of ease and grace and abundance, bringing forth my soul's dharma. Knowing that Seaside continues to grow and thrive because the members and the friends of this community are blessed by this wonderful emanation of the divine light that moves forth, lifting all, making a difference within this community, in the consciousness of this nation and this planet as a whole, that peace and love and presence and a unifying essence of life prevails. Prayer requests brought forth are answered. Just grateful for the good and the love, the kindness, the caring, the surrendering. I let go to this. I trust, I believe, I surrender. And so it is. Amen.
So if you're discouraged, you're struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it all go. And this is what you have to say. Come on. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit from my life.
See
free in my self-expression. Together, I am free in my self-expression. Touch your heart and say it again. I am free in my self-expression. One more time like it's your truth. I am free in my self-expression. And our song of grace.